that is in place for years. But of course, when you come up to this point where you've got to deal with so many invited dignitaries and guests and VIPs and kings and presidents and everybody else that has been invited to come here, there's so much organization that goes into it. Well, someone who knows more about this than anybody else is the Minister in the Presidency, Chabane, and he's here. He's with me, and he's going to talk us through the proceedings today. So nice to have you, Minister. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
This takes a lot of work. I mean, the preparation behind the inauguration, how long have you all been working on this for?
It takes a lot of work, and if you could recall that the cabinet took a decision the president took a decision to appoint the committee, interministerial committee, in October last year. There were basically two committees which were appointed. The one was to prepare for the 20th celebration, which I was chairing, and I also had to chair that one. And you'll remember that in December we had to be interrupted by the funeral of President Mandela, which took its own toll and its own time. But we think we're on target on the preparations.
Good. Well, I hope you're on target. We've got a few hours to go, and I can see that guests are already arriving, and things are looking magnificent from this point. Who are some of the dignitaries and the presidents that will be attending?
We expect quite a number of heads of states and former presidents and vice presidents and prime ministers, mainly from the continent, but also from the BRIC countries. They have got a lot of representatives, but overall, every country is represented here today. And then we'll have the kings, both from SADC and our own kings here. We'll start filing in from 8:10 or so. They'll start filing in. Then we have got the judiciary, all the judges, constitutional court, the appeal court, and the just president of the provinces. And we've got members of parliament, members of the NCOP who were just taken their oath yesterday. Yeah. And then we've got premiers and their MECs. We have got all the mayors here and all the municipal managers, all the DGs, and everybody else. I think it's a very important occasion for us.
It's amazing. 4,500 people are expected to be seated here in this Nelson Mandela Amphitheatre, which, of course, is the who's who of South Africa and the country. Those that run the country are going to be here. Now, we were speaking about the ministers because, of course, the appointment of new ministers is going to happen tomorrow, but the ministers are seated right in the front, and you were saying that up until President Jacob Zuma signs his oath as the new democratically elected president of South Africa, obviously this is his second term, the ministers then almost lose their portfolio and then wait until tomorrow to become appointed. Is that how it works?
You must remember that President Zuma is still president now. He's both president and president-elect. He stops being the president of this term once he signs off. And the constitution says the cabinet, the president, the cabinet cease to function when the next president takes office. Yeah. So because he's the same president, once he signs, he continues, but the cabinet itself, its task has ended. So the president must start the job of appointing the new cabinet as soon as possible after his inauguration.
Yeah. I know that the list is still being polished and shined and waited to be presented to the nation tomorrow. What time can we expect an announcement of who the ministers are going to be that'll be carrying us forward for the next term?
I don't know, but normally you would know that the president will do that 1 or 2 days after the inauguration. So the president has not informed us and when it's going to happen. I think today he will make an announcement and tell the media when he's going to present that to the nation.
Okay. All right, good. So we'll wait on that one. In terms of money, we're talking 120 million for today's proceedings. Is that an accurate amount?
Obviously, an occasion of this nature, you know, it doesn't come cheap. It's quite expensive. We're quite aware of it. We don't know as yet because various departments budgeted for this occasion for the functions which they're supposed to perform. The metros, like Tshwane, would have its own site of costs related to the occasion. So we'll only be able to know that after everything has been done.
Yeah, but there is an allocation, obviously.
There was?
An allocation is what I'm saying. There is an allocation yes. towards the inauguration, which was spoken about in Parliament, or we are looking at about 120. Is that an accurate figure, or could it be more or less?
From where I'm sitting, I wouldn't know because departments budget on their own. The presidency would have its own, GCIS will have its own, Defense will have its own, Public Works will have its own budget, which is within their budget allocation. It's only when they do the accounting that we'll be able to know, even collating to say how much did it cost us.
All right. Now, after the president has been inaugurated, is he expected to address the nation?
He will address the nation immediately after inauguration for about 10-15 minutes, because we have to manage our time properly. And then from there, we then move to the southern lawns to greet the people who will be participating from the southern lawn side.
And that's the public that will be coming out. 20,000 people are able to come down to the southern lawns and enjoy the live music concert. So the president will go down and speak to his people or greet his people.
Yes, the president will go down and meet the people there. From here, the heads of states will move for the luncheon at the invitation of the president. I will be chairing that luncheon. And then there will be another luncheon for these 4,500 guests at the Dome, which will be hosted by Minister Mlewa. So the president will go and host the heads of states and go and host the general VIPs who are here today.
So on the podium, we can see that there are 10 chairs and then chairs in the front chair. For people that have never watched an inauguration before, I mean, it happens every 5 years. It's a beautiful occasion. Who is on the podium with the president-elect?
In fact, the chairs are supposed to be 14. 5 for the police generals, 5 for the army generals, because the president has to take a salute. And then there will be the seat for the chief justice, the seat for the president, the seat for the first lady, and one of the seats where the president is going to sign when he takes an oath.
So it's a beautiful occasion. I mean, it's something that I think many South Africans have witnessed for the last 5 years. The first time was when our former president, Nelson Mandela, was on that podium as our first democratically elected president. And I mean, there's such an air of excitement already here amongst the guests arriving from the early hours of the morning. Guests expected to all be here by 8 o'clock this morning. Is that the understanding until the dignitaries start filing in?
Yes, eh?
The guests, are they all expected to be seated by 8 o'clock this morning?
We're expected to be seated by 8 o'clock in the morning, because from 10 past 8, from 8 o'clock, 10 past 8, up to 20 past, we're bringing in the kings, our kings, and then from there we'll then bring the heads of state. We'll start bringing the heads of states one by one until they finish. But we hope and we expect that at 11 o'clock we should be able to start. The president must be on the podium, the chief justice must be on the podium, the police generals and the army generals must be on the podium by that time.
All right. Minister, thank you. Thank you so much. Enjoy it. You've done a wonderful job so far, and enjoy the day. It's going to be a wonderful one. Thank you for being with us here on the program.
It's my pleasure.